Do you know how much equity you have in your home?
Do you know what you can do with that equity? What are your options?
Well, the only way to find out is to understand what you got. Make sure that you click on the link below to get a free equity report. Welcome back. You know the time of year. It's time for that housing update, and it's for October of 2023. My good friend Randy Williams from TBF Mortgage is here with me today.
Glad to be here, Mary. How are you?
Good. We're going to jump right into it, Randy.
Okay.
And today we're going to talk about equity. And we've been talking a lot about interest rates and a lot of other things. But it's crazy here over the last 5 years. If you look at the map of everywhere in the U.S., of course, Florida's had over 100% equity. And, you know, who is sitting on that equity? That's really the question. We talk a lot about equity because our clients are very house wealthy. And maybe they don't have a lot of assets or income coming in just because, you know, of where they are in their life. But 38.7% of Americans, Randy, have owned their home outright.
Right.
You're seeing that, right?
Yeah, well, what's crazy is we've had 10 years in a row of house appreciation. So even the people that just bought their house 2 years ago have equity. So everybody who's in their house right now has an enormous amount of equity.
I love that. You know, between those that have paid it off and those that have more than 50%, it's like 68.7%.
I think the majority of the wealth in this country for most people is in their home.
Absolutely. Now, I want to talk about 3 advantages of having that equity. We're seeing it with folks that want to move somewhere else and they want to use the money out of that. What kind of products do you have for that?
A few.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to tailor it to each individual's situation. But I think the 2 most important ones that we do right now, sometimes it's just a cash out refi. If somebody's just sitting so heavily on equity and they just want that power of a cash purchase on the other side,
right?
The power of negotiating with just, hey, I can close in 2 weeks and have the cash to do it. Cash out equity is always great. And then for other people that are probably going to carry a mortgage on the other side, we can bridge. We can use the equity in their home, use that as their down payment, and make that transition super easy for them.
Well, you know, it's something that we're talking to a lot of our clients about because they are looking to move, to do some other things, and for various reasons, and they want to use that money, and they want to use it sometimes sooner, faster than others, and you do those pretty quickly.
I can do a cash out refi in 10 or 11 days. Mary,
wow.
Half of my business in the last 90 days has been this exact product. Yeah.
Half. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've done a few of them with you, so I don't know if I'm half, but
Sure.
because you help a lot of people get loans.
Yeah.
That ability to give a larger down payment or pay it in cash. And then, you know, let's face it, assisted living properties or homes, some of them need a big chunk of money up front to move into that. So this is super great. Now, I'm not a grandma yet, and my kids are not ready to have me be a grandma yet, but I would say that most grandparents want to move really close to their grandkids. They want to be part of their lives. And there was a study, I don't know where you sit in this from that perspective, but there was a study done that talks about that as the number one reason why people move. Let me first, though, go in and talk about what Vance Cariaja. Let's talk about what Vance has to say. Sorry.
That is a tough one, for sure. Never underestimate the power of grandchildren, especially when it comes to the lifestyle and financial decisions. Recent data shows that many baby boomers are relocating further away from home than they used to, so they can be closer to their grandbabies.
Yeah, so true. So true. I was just talking with a grandma today. She bought a second home up by the and just had that first grandbaby. And she was oozing about it. It was amazing. You know who you are. Empty nesters dominate the home sellers.
Yeah.
Are you an empty nester, or do you have that 1, 2, 3 or more kids still at home? Yeah. I love this particular slide. And Randy, we did a poll on this. So if you're following us on YouTube, feel free to go on the community tab. So go into the community tab and vote on this poll. But if you were to move, would it be number 1, you want to be closer to friends and family, those grandbabies? 2, moving due to retirement. We get a lot of people coming in for that, buying in here. Neighborhood became less desirable, home too small, or change in family situation. We'd love to get your opinion on our poll. If you can't find it on YouTube or whatever, go out to Google us, and on our Google pages, all 3 of them for each one of our offices, you can vote on the same poll. But you know, who doesn't want to be closer to them? I mean, that's a 21% of why people are moving.
Yeah, especially here. I mean, I think a lot of that has to do with what age group you're into.
And down here for sure, we're, We do have younger people, by the way, but I'm not one of them.
Me and you are both. Come on.
I'm just saying. All right, so let's talk about current home appreciation. I'm going to have you read a couple of slides here.
Sure. Home prices aren't falling anymore. The surprisingly quick recovery suggests that the residential real estate downturn is turning out to be shorter and shallower than many housing economists expected after mortgage rates soared last year.
Yeah, because they were all predicting that it would go flat or negative.
Well, Mary, I heard one of my mentors in this business gave me an unbelievable stat the other day. 7% interest rates are actually a buyer's best friend right now. The minute those interest rates go back 1%, 5 million new buyers are into the market.
They're going to flood in.
What's that going to do for home prices?
Yeah, it's going to jack them up again. Yeah. And you have more negotiation. Let's really put it in perspective. What does John Mackey say?
From January through August, housing demand stabilized, resulting in a very relatively stable home prices. By August 2023, national resale home prices fully recovered from the declines experienced in the second half of 2022 and now exceed their 2022 April peak.
Yeah. Right.
We really do see it in the field.
And you're going to see those numbers later. So make sure that if you're watching this, you want to zoom to the end of it. It'll be tabbed for Southwest Florida numbers. But we really like to give you that perspective on the national numbers. One more slide to read. I promise there won't be many more.
Overall, it appears the reduction in supply has outweighed the decrease in demand. Thus, house prices have started to increase, even if sales have fallen.
We have less sales, but the home prices are up. For the Bartos Group, we're actually tracking on what we did, and, we're probably a little bit less than 22, but there's a lot of people that are way off their 22 and 21 numbers.
Well, yeah, when interest rates go up 4% in a year and a half, the predictions are all over the place.
Yeah.
The one thing is the inventory has never been there, so the interest rates are just balancing that out.
And honestly, when last month, you might remember, August, we looked at the number of homes for sale. They were the exact same amount in August of 2022 as there were in 2023. Now, we can't really do that in this year because we're looking back on a storm. Yeah. So the numbers are for the next few months, are going to be all flaky on some of those numbers. Let's see about price movement. Talk about this, July, month over month, which was when they had their data from Case-Shiller.
Yeah, I mean, look at these are all of the bigger cities, the bigger places in the country. Every single one of them has price increases in their properties. Mm-hmm. How do you figure that with 4 or 5% increase in interest rates? It has everything in the world to do with inventory, and that's why new home sales are going to explode in the next couple of years.
They exploded here a while ago for sure. They're we can't build them as fast as people are demanding them. So let's talk about the future home prices. What does Selma have to say about that?
High mortgage rates have slowed additional price surges, with monthly increases returning to regular seasonal averages. In other words, home prices are still growing, but in line with historical seasonal expectations.
Yeah, and she goes on to say,
nevertheless, home prices are still expected to reaccelerate and reach mid-single-digit growth by the end of the year, according to CoreLogic's latest HPI forecast.
So I love this next slide, Randy. This is probably one of my favorite because this is what they're expecting. And this has been all over the place to super red on the chart up to now. Everybody seems to be a little more bullish. 3.3% average of all six of these forecasters.
But you know what's interesting about this slide? We did this about 6 months ago, and all of these things were negative.
Right. They were all red.
How much they corrected?
Yeah, they were all red because we weren't expecting it.
Right.
Which, gives us the Home Price Expectation Survey, which is a nationwide panel. And they're talking about the next 5 years. I love that. Look at this, Randy. I mean, 2024 is probably going to have the least amount of appreciation between 23 and 27, which makes it a great time to sell because why not buy when the market's not going up crazy?
Like I said, I just said a couple of minutes ago, right now, if you're somebody who is still qualified to buy, your mortgage is going to be a 30-year mortgage. It's not going to be a 30-year plan. When these interest rates go back 1% and you have 5 million new buyers flooding the market, it's going to affect what you're going to be able to buy a house for. So if you can buy it now, get it at the price you want it, knowing that we're going to peel back that payment as rates peel back a little bit and we'll refinance you.
I couldn't agree with you more. So what's happening in Southwest Florida? You guys have been waiting for this as we've been talking. We looked at the last 3 years of, that would be 23, 22, and 21 for the month of September, which is the most recent numbers we have. And you'll see that all three of those numbers increased between 21 for the value of the homes, because we've heard all these things out there that it was going to be really bad and everything was going to go down. And, I've probably heard it all. They've all increased. Now, this is all of our MLS. This is Lee County, Naples, and Marco Island, because we sell in all those areas. The only one I did not get, Randy, was Fort Myers. Yeah. And I can't, in good conscience, put a number out there because, quite honestly, we had a storm last year and we're in recovery.
Yeah, I mean, but if you tie every single thing that we're talking into, all of these people, every year, there's going to be people up north that have, their kids have moved out.
Right.
Or they have finally retired.
Yep.
And they are finally going to come down to Florida to their dream home, their retirement home. Every year, that group of people is going to come down. And we just saw how much equity they have.
Right.
Of course, the prices down here are going to increase.
Yeah. Supply and demand, for sure. So when do homeowners list, Randy? Historically, this has been October and January. Mm-hmm. The last couple of years, we've also seen a run go up in March. I think they were here for season and they wanted to take the money out of it and they saw what was happening, so they bounced in. We don't know what'll happen in 24. Of course, last year we had the storm, so things all shifted. It was kind of an odd thing about it. But my point here is, if you're thinking about selling, you need to go ahead and contact someone. And what we are offering is a professional equity report. We feel that at least you could put a stake in the ground, know what your home is worth. You can calculate the mortgage or, what you owe left on your mortgage if you have one, and then come up with that number of how much do you have in this home. I know my financial planner does that for me year over year, to see how much my portfolio has gone up and what that looks like. And he's not always the one that does my stocks. So it's something that it's a good practice to do. And we offer it, Randy, it's free.
Mary, you're not going to say this, but I'm going to say it for you. You're one of the top listing agents in the country, not just here in Southwest Florida. I think it matters who you actually get this report from too. I really do. Somebody who's just going to tell you the truth. And if it works for you and it makes sense, there's never a bad time to list down here.
There isn't. One of our clients just, Randy was with me in an open house, and what they're doing with their equity out of it, they're significant, is they're going to buy two places. One of them is to be near their grandbabies up north on a lake and have all those great memories there. Yeah. And the other one is on a beach. So they're going to take that money and split it in two. What you would do with yours, we don't know, but we'd love to hear about it. And more importantly, we'd love to let you know what your home is worth and how much you can take out of it if you choose. So until next time, I'm Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group of Premier Plus.
Randy Williams with TBF Mortgage.
And we look forward to seeing you back here again in November.